The punch landed square on my jaw before I even registered the swing. Blood filled my mouth instantly, coppery and warm, as I stumbled back against the brick wall of the alley behind O'Malley's pub. Jake, my best friend since third grade, the guy who'd once carried me 3 blocks home after I sprained my ankle skateboarding, stood there breathing hard, fists still clenched, eyes wild with something that looked like fear more than anger. "You fucking lied to me," he spat. "All these years. You let me think." I wiped my lip with the back of my hand, staring at the red smear. The world tilted. Music from inside the bar pulsed through the walls, muffled laughter spilling out every time the door opened. Nobody came to check on us. Nobody ever did when it was just the guys sorting shit out. "Jake," I managed, voice thick. "I didn't lie. I just didn't say." He laughed, a short, ugly sound. "Same difference, Ethan. You let me drag you to every party, every double date, thinking you were one of us. And the whole time you were what? Checking me out? Hoping I'd what the fuck, man?" I flinched harder than from the punch. "No, never. You're my brother. That's all." He stepped closer, voice dropping low. "Not anymore." Then he turned and walked away, shoulders rigid, disappearing around the corner into the neon glow of downtown Portland. I slid down the wall until I hit the damp pavement, knees to chest, trying to breathe around the ache in my face and the bigger one tearing open inside my ribs. That was how it ended or started, depending on how you looked at it. My name is Ethan Caldwell, 24 years old, barista by day, part-time graphic design student by night, full-time coward by life. I'd known I was gay since I was 14, when I caught myself staring too long at the curve of Jake's neck while we changed for gym class. I'd buried it deep, told myself it was a phase, prayed it away in the quiet hours when the house was asleep. But phases don't last a decade. Jake Harlan had been my constant. We grew up in the same sleepy Oregon suburb, same cul-de-sac, same little league team, same dreams of escaping to a bigger city. He was loud where I was quiet, fearless where I second-guessed everything. When my dad left when I was 12, Jake's family practically adopted me. His mom made extra plates at dinner. His dad taught me how to change oil in my beat-up Civic. We were inseparable. People called us the Harlan Caldwell duo, like we were a law firm. I never planned to tell him. Not really. But last month, after too many beers at his apartment, after he broke up with his girlfriend of 2 years and cried on my shoulder like he hadn't since we were kids, the words slipped out. "I'm gay, Jake." He'd frozen, then laughed, then asked if I was joking. Well, I didn't laugh back. His face changed, confusion, then discomfort, then something darker. He muttered something about being tired, said we could talk tomorrow. I left feeling lighter than I had in years. Tomorrow never came. He stopped answering texts, avoided me at our usual spots. When I finally cornered him tonight at O'Malley's, our spot, he'd been drinking since afternoon. The punch was his answer. I sat in that alley for almost an hour before I dragged myself up and walked the 2 miles home. My phone buzzed the whole way. Notifications, tags, messages. Jake had posted a screenshot of our old group chat. My message from last month circled in red. "I'm gay." Then Jake's caption, "Guess who finally admitted what we've all suspected? Some secrets are heavier than others." Truth hurts, real friends. Comments poured in. Some laughing emojis. Some shocked faces. A few "damn bro sorry" from mutual friends. One girl I'd gone on a disastrous date with last year. Knew it, lol. My stomach dropped through the sidewalk. By the time I reached my apartment, a cramped one-bedroom above a laundromat, the post had over 200 likes. People I'd known since high school were sharing it. My cousin in Seattle commented, "You okay?" No, I wasn't. I locked the door, sank onto the couch, and stared at the ceiling. The blood on my shirt had dried stiff. My jaw throbbed in time with my heartbeat. This wasn't just betrayal. This was public execution. The next morning, I woke to missed calls from my mom. She'd seen it. Of course she had. Small towns, social media, distance doesn't matter. "Ethan, honey, what happened?" Jake's mom called me crying. She said he feels awful, but... "What did you do?" I almost laughed. "What did I do?" "Exist." "I came out to him, Mom. That's all." Silence on the line. Then softly, "Oh, baby, I'm so sorry." She didn't ask if it was true. She already knew. Mothers always do. I called in sick to the coffee shop. Spent the day offline, curtains drawn, scrolling through old photos instead. Jake and me at prom. Him with his arm around his date. Me stag, but smiling. Us at graduation, caps flying. Camping trips, road trips, late night drives blasting music. Every memory felt tainted now. By evening, the anger had burned through the shock. I wanted to call him, yell, ask why, but I didn't. Instead, I opened my laptop and started typing. Not a post, not a revenge thread, a letter to Jake. I wrote for hours, explained everything, the fear, the shame, the hope that maybe he'd still want me around even if I wasn't the version he'd imagined. I told him how much his friendship meant, how losing it felt like losing half my childhood. I didn't send it. Not yet. Instead, I saved it, closed the laptop, and went to bed wondering if tomorrow would feel any less like drowning. It didn't. The days blurred. Work became mechanical. Pour espresso, smile, repeat. Customers asked if I was okay. I lied, said I had the flu. My mom called every evening. She wanted me to come home for a weekend. I said I was busy. Truth was, I couldn't face the pity in her eyes yet. Jake didn't reach out. No apology. No explanation. Just silence. Then, a week later, I got a text from Sarah, our mutual friend from college, the one who'd always mediated our dumb arguments. Hey, can we talk? Coffee tomorrow. I almost said no, but curiosity and loneliness won. We met at a small place near the river, away from the usual crowd. Sarah looked tired. She hugged me tight when I arrived. You look like shit, she said bluntly. Thanks. She ordered black coffee. I got tea. We sat outside despite the October chill. Jake's a mess, she started. He's drinking too much. Won't talk about it. His mom says he barely sleeps. I stared at the river. He punched me, then outed me to half the state. I know. She reached across the table, squeezed my hand. I'm sorry. That was fucked up. Why are you telling me this? Because I think he regrets it. But he's too proud or too scared to say it. I pulled my hand back. He had no right. No, he didn't. We sat in silence for a while. Leaves drifted past on the water. People are talking, she said finally. Some are on your side. Some aren't. But the ones who matter, they're asking how you're holding up. I didn't know how to answer that. That night, I opened the letter again. Added more. About how his rejection hurt worse than any homophobic slur ever could. Because it came from him. Still didn't send. 2 weeks passed. I started therapy, online sessions, because leaving the apartment felt impossible some days. The therapist, a calm woman named Dr. Reyes, listened without judgment. Betrayal from someone that close rewires your sense of safety, she said. It's normal to feel unmoored. Unmoored. That word fit. I began running again. Early mornings before the city woke. The rhythm of my shoes on pavement drowned out the noise in my head. One day I ran past our old high school. Stopped. Stared at the football field where Jake and I used to dream big. A guy was there, tall, dark hair, stretching before a jog. He glanced over, smiled. I looked away fast, heart racing for reasons I couldn't name. His name was Miles. I found out later. We kept crossing paths. Same route, same time. Eventually he nodded, then waved. Then one morning he fell in a step beside me. You're fast, he said. You're not bad yourself. We ran in silence for a mile. Then he asked my name. I told him. Miles was 26. Graphic designer for a startup. Moved to Portland from Chicago last year. Quiet, thoughtful, gay, though he didn't say it outright. I just knew. We started running together. No pressure. No expectations. Just company. It felt safe. Meanwhile, Jake's silence stretched. Mutual friends drifted away. Some messaged apologies. Others ghosted. Sarah texted occasionally. Updates. Jake got a new job. Jake moved out of his apartment. Jake asked about me once. I didn't respond to that last one. One evening, after a long run, Miles invited me for coffee. Not a date, just coffee. We talked for hours. About work, family, dreams. He told me about coming out to his parents at 19. Supportive, but awkward. I told him about Jake. The punch. The post. Miles listened. Didn't offer platitudes. Just said, that sucks. I'm sorry. For the first time in months, I felt seen. Not as the gay guy who got outed. Just Ethan. Winter came early that year. Rain turned to sleet. Portland grayed over. Miles and I kept running. Sometimes we grabbed breakfast after. He introduced me to his friends, a small, tight group. They welcomed me without questions. I started smiling again. Small things. A joke at work. A new design project I actually enjoyed. The letter to Jake sat unsent. I'd rewritten it 5 times. Each version angrier, then sadder, then resigned. One night, drunk on cheap wine alone in my apartment, I almost hit send. Instead, I deleted the draft. Progress, maybe. Christmas approached. Mom begged me to come home. I said yes this time. The drive south was quiet. Radio off. Just rain on the windshield. Home smelled like pine and cinnamon. Mom hugged me too long. Dad, stepdad now, was kind but distant. He never knew how to handle feelings. Jake's mom invited me over. I went. She cried when she saw me. Hugged me like I was still 12. Jacob's not here, she said. He's in Seattle for work. But he asked about you. I nodded. Didn't trust my voice. She gave me cookies. Old recipe. The ones Jake and I used to steal from the cooling rack. Driving back to her house, I passed our old street. The Harlan house looked the same. Lights on. Warm. I kept driving. Back in Portland, Miles invited me to New Year's with his friends. I said yes. The party was small. Rooftop bar downtown. City lights glittered below. Midnight came. Fireworks. Cheers. Miles stood beside me. Our shoulders touched. Happy New Year, Ethan. You too. He looked at me then. Really looked. You've come a long way. I swallowed. Still hurts. I know. He didn't push. Just stay close. Later, walking home through quiet streets, snow dusting the sidewalks, he took my hand. I let him. It wasn't fireworks. No grand declaration. Just warmth in the cold. Spring arrived hesitant. Cherry blossoms along the river. I started believing I could heal. Miles and I were dating now. Quietly. Dates at bookstores, movie nights, long walks. He made me laugh. Made me feel wanted without demanding I perform. One afternoon, we were at his place. Sunlight slanted through the blinds. He was sketching. I was reading. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I answered. Ethan. Jake's voice. Rough. Tired. I froze. Miles glanced up. I mouthed. It's him. I stepped onto the balcony. What do you want? Silence. Then, I need to talk. In person. Why? Because I owe you that much. I laughed bitterly. You owe me a lot more than that. I know. We met at O'Malley's. Same alley. Different season. He looked smaller. Bags under his eyes. Hair longer. He didn't try to hug me. Just stood there. I'm sorry, he said. First words. I crossed my arms. For what part? The punch? The post? The silence? All of it. He rubbed his face. I panicked. I thought, if people knew you were gay, they'd think I was too. Or that we'd. I don't know. I was scared. Of what? Losing your precious straight cred. He winced. Yeah, something like that. I stared at him. You destroyed me, Jake. You took 10 years of friendship and burned it for likes. I know. His voice cracked. I hate myself for it. Good. He looked up, eyes wet. I miss you. Every day. I felt the old ache flare. But different now. Less sharp. I can't just forget. I don't expect you to. Then why are you here? Because I needed to say it face to face. And because I wanted to tell you I'm getting help. Therapy. AA meetings. Trying to be better. I studied him. Saw the truth in his exhaustion. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said quietly. I get it. We stood there. Traffic hummed past. Finally I spoke. Maybe someday. Not today. He nodded. Thank you for hearing me out. He walked away. Slower this time. I stayed in the alley until the sun dipped low. Miles was waiting at home. Didn't ask questions. Just held me. Months passed. Summer heat baked the city. I graduated. Got a full-time design job. Moved into a better apartment with Miles. Life settled. Not perfect, but good. Jake texted once. Birthday wishes. I replied, thanks. No more. Sarah said he was dating someone. A girl from work. Seemed happy. I felt. Nothing much. Relief, maybe. One evening, Miles and I were on the couch. He traced patterns on my arm. You ever think about him? He asked. Sometimes. Does it still hurt? Less. He kissed my temple. You're stronger than you know. I believed him. Then the twist came quietly. A package arrived. No return address. Inside, an old photo album. Our childhood. Notes in Jake's handwriting on Post-its. One on the cover. I kept this. Thought you might want it someday. No pressure. Just, I'm sorry. Gee. I opened it. Page after page of us. Smiling. Carefree. Tears came then. Not angry. Sad for what was lost. Grateful for what remained. I called him. Voicemail. Hey, it's Ethan. Got the album. Thanks. Maybe. Coffee sometime. No promises. I hung up. Didn't expect a reply. But 2 days later, I'd like that. We met at a park. Neutral ground. Awkward at first. Then stories flowed. Careful ones. He apologized again. I listened. I told him about Miles. He smiled, genuine. I'm glad you found someone. Me too. We didn't hug, but we parted friends. Fragile. New. A year later, Miles proposed on the river at sunset. Simple ring. Simple yes. We invited Jake to the wedding. Small ceremony. Close friends. He came. Brought a date. His girlfriend. Kind eyes. During speeches, he asked to say something. I tensed. He stood. Cleared his throat. I almost lost the best person I ever knew because I was afraid. Of myself. Of change. Ethan forgave me more than I deserved. He's the strongest man I know. I'm honored to be here. To witness this. He raised his glass. To Ethan and Miles. May your love be everything mine wasn't brave enough to be. Tears. Laughter. Applause. Later, Jake found me outside. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for coming. We hugged then. Brief. Real. No words needed. Life moves forward. Scars fade but stay. They remind us. We grow. Personal reflection. This story isn't about villains or heroes. It's about how fear can twist even the deepest bonds, and how courage, in whatever small measure, can begin to mend them. Ethan didn't need grand revenge or instant forgiveness. He needed time, truth, and people who chose him without conditions. Jake's betrayal was ugly, human, rooted in his own unexamined shame. Yet the ending isn't tidy closure, it's quiet possibility. Sometimes healing looks like a hesitant coffee, a saved photo album, a raised glass at a wedding. We don't always get apologies we deserve, but we can still choose growth over bitterness. In the end, love, self-love, romantic love, rebuilt friendship wins not because it's easy, but because it's worth the risk. And that's the quiet miracle. Even after the worst breaks, we can learn to trust again. Slowly, honestly, together.